Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the AITAH subreddit. The post is titled AITAH for yelling at my girlfriend to stop eating. My sister runs a bakery business and she's been struggling lately to keep up with orders because she's been short-staffed. She receives many orders for wedding cakes that require custard or marmalade fillings, and I offered to help her out by making these fillings at home and bringing them to her so she has less work to do. Unfortunately, during the past 4 times I've made these fillings, my girlfriend has literally dipped her fingers into the filling jars and contaminated them because, in her words, she just wanted to try some. I have tried explaining to her that she can't dip her fingers in and contaminate the entire batch because then I have to remake it. I suggested that she use a spoon to take some out if she wants to try it so badly, but she just pouts and says that she likes using her fingers because it takes her back to her childhood. Today I was trying to finish some chocolate custard to send over to my sister really quickly because she was running late on a wedding cake order for an important client. I told my girlfriend beforehand not to eat the custard, and if she really wanted to please use a spoon. I got out of the shower and what do I see? She has her fingers in it again. I completely lost it because this is the 5th time she blatantly disregarded what I said. I yelled at her and told her to stop eating the food I'm making because it's not for her and she's contaminating it. She started crying and got mad at me for fat shaming her, even though I made no comments about her weight and she has no history of weight issues or eating disorders. I know I was harsh, but she kept pushing my limits. Am I the jerk? User manufacturer afraid said NTA, she's exhausting and sounds like she's trying to sabotage you helping your sister. User Dirk gently said NTA, calling her out for contaminating food that is intended for commercial sale to other people because she wants to relive her childhood is absolutely appropriate. Hiding behind the fat shaming nonsense seems like a way to try to escape accountability for her total lack of self-control. User Journey into Pressure said NTA. At this point, she is doing it on purpose. Is she doing it in front of you or right when you are about to catch her? Yes, she is purposefully ruining things for some reason. Break up with her. This person is sabotaging and wasting your time, but worse, she is sabotaging your sister. User Linerva said NTA. Your girlfriend is being terribly unhygienic. Nobody cares if it reminds her of her childhood. She cannot stick her filthy fingers in other people's food. This has nothing to do with her weight and everything to do with her inability to follow simple requests and basic food hygiene. This next story was made in the TIFU subreddit by a user named BrightEqual. The post is titled TIFU by telling my cousin that the reason I am moving is because of her husband. I have lived with my cousin Rose and her husband Dumbo for over a year for economic reasons. We have had many issues, but I could handle them. 6 months ago, I began to realize that Dumbo was looking at me more. I've always been sure to wear appropriate clothing in front of him, and I've never been without a bra outside my room. Even so, I noticed that his eyes were constantly going to other places like my boobs, ass, or lower. I thought it was just my imagination, but just in case, I started wearing oversized hoodies and sweatpants around the house and nothing body-fitting. Still, I noticed that when we would have conversations, he would deliberately stare at other places. One night, as I was lying on the couch laughing at a video on my phone, he came up to me, asked what I was laughing at, and before I could answer, he bent down and put his head on my boobs at an angle where he could look at the phone screen. I was in shock, and I am ashamed that I just let it happen. That's when I knew I had to tell someone, especially my parents, but I didn't have the courage, so I stuck it out. More comments were made, but the one that disgusted me the most was when he said, "Hey, is it me or have your boobs gotten bigger?" I asked why the F he was looking at me that way and that he was so off for that, but he just laughed. I got the courage to tell my stepmom and dad, and they were both shocked. They said that I needed to move out ASAP and that I also needed to talk to Rose about Dumbo's behavior, and I would also need to talk to Dumbo. It took a bit of pushing, but I finally got the nerve to sit down with Rose and tell her everything that had happened and that this was the reason I was moving. She said that she would talk to him, but in the end, this was my problem with him and I needed to fix it. I thought that after she spoke to him, he would come to me and apologize or say something at least, but that never happened. 2 days after, I told Rose that I was expecting an apology on his behalf, and I was going to talk to him myself about everything. She said that would be useless because he said he was never going to talk to me again as he claims he did nothing, and apologizing would mean him owning up to what I claimed happened. She said that both of them were going to wait until my dad was back in town so he could solve everything. He claims that I am just trying to turn my family against him and ruin his reputation. I left to go to work after that, but in my mental state, I forgot something, and when I came back, I caught her talking to her mom about how they didn't believe anything I had said and that the three of them would tell my parents that I'm trying to divide the family. With three people ganging up against me, I am worried that they'll manage to change my parents' minds. I think I messed up by bringing this whole thing up. I may have just ruined my whole relationship with everyone, possibly ruined a marriage, and in the end, I'm starting to even doubt my own judgment on what could have just been a misunderstanding. I messed up by not staying quiet. I'll update if it's requested. User ButFsRUs said, something I tell young people is document, 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 send text messages. Hey, what was up with you putting your head on my chest earlier? Record any interaction you have with the offending party. Keep video, audio, and text evidence of everything. And don't show your hand right away. Let the person deny and let the other people support them. Then show your hand and do what you will with the information you have, who believed you and who sided with the abuser. It's the same thing with car accidents. Have a dash cam. Don't tell the other party you have a dash cam. Let them make as many claims as they want. Let your insurance company know that you have footage of the accident, and their lawyer will know what to do. Your time, money, and safety are cheap and easy for other people to compromise. User Elshighs said, honestly, the fact that she's barely willing to listen to your side of the story makes me think your cousin might be in denial. You also have nothing to gain by saying this kind of thing, so I don't understand why she would think you're trying to divide the family. Most likely, you're not the first woman Dumbo has done that kind of thing to, and since it probably happens with people he only sees once, it's swept under the rug or goes unnoticed. You should stick to your guns and aim to move out as soon as possible. If they want to keep things this way, then by all means let them, but you don't need them or this kind of a weird energy, and don't stay quiet about this kind of behavior. That's exactly what he's counting on to keep harassing you. Update. I didn't expect to be updating again. I thought that everything had ended when my parents blocked me, but no. Since my last post, my parents still have me blocked, but only on social media. They have been calling me since and telling me that it's up to me to make this right. Basically, my entire family is mad at me for trying to destroy the family dynamics. They believe that because I still haven't confronted Dumbo, they all think I am lying and that I blew what could have been a simple, awkward moment into a big deal just to have a proper reason to move out and be independent. According to them, unless I speak to Dumbo face to face, I will have proven their theory that I am simply lying to get out of the house without anyone questioning it. They have made it clear that they think I have messed up by bringing this to light, and if I choose not to confront Dumbo, they will proceed to keep me blocked and label me as a liar. Oh my god, the pressure I have been under to speak to this man has been making me sick at this point. Yes, I could simply block my parents on everything as well, but that wouldn't stop them from showing up at my house, and I'm too much of a coward to do so anyway. Even though I'm freaking out, I have decided to talk to Dumbo tonight once I get the courage to do so, just to get my parents off my back because I can't handle another phone call with them where they accuse me of being a liar. Deep down, I know I didn't mess up by telling my family about Dumbo harassing me, but I swear to God that if I had known everything that would come out of this, I would have simply moved out and kept my mouth shut. Any advice is needed, and I deeply appreciate those who personally messaged me to check up on me after my first post. Final update. To begin, I'd like to thank all those who have given me advice and shown support during this hard time. It's given me more strength than you know. I've been asked some questions, so I'll answer a few. 1. Why did I wait 6 months to bring this up? This is a very serious accusation to bring up. I wanted to be absolutely sure that I wasn't imagining anything and that I was certain of this. I was also terrified of how my family would react. 2. Why didn't I speak to Dumbo from the very beginning? I didn't have the courage and didn't know how he'd react, so I went to my parents for guidance. 3. Why didn't I bring this up until after I moved out? Simple, I thought my parents would have my back. Now to the update. After my last post, I spoke to Dumbo. Even though many advised me not to, I caved and confronted him. I recorded the entire conversation like many suggested and even made sure to send it to a few people just in case. Dumbo was quiet the whole time I spoke and apologized, even though he admits he stands by the fact he did nothing. His wife Rose was laughing, snorting, and making side remarks the whole time. The urge to tell her to screw off was big, but I didn't want to make things worse for myself. The conclusion of our talk was this: they don't want to move on from this, but we will be civil. simple. We will keep communication to a minimum until and after I move. He will make sure to never be alone around me, and lastly, our conversation was basically pointless. He says that even if I had spoken to him first, like everyone suggested, the results still would have been the same, meaning we would all be divided. I told my parents all of this morning as they wanted to know how the talk went. Even though I told them this was all said by Dumbo, they still said that I was trying to justify my reasons for not wanting to have the conversation with him. Basically, they think I only caved into this to prove that I wasn't lying because in the end, I never showed any signs of abuse or said anything. They have made it clear that I have divided the whole family and that it's going to take time for them to heal from the pain and distress I have caused. They may or may not reach out to me again in the future. After all of this, my biggest mistake was how I went about this. I should have waited until I was in my new place and away from these people. At least that way, a lot of this could have been avoided. Many have said that because I'm 23, I am old enough to deal with this alone. To those who said this, thank you. I have learned that family will not always be there to back you up. Speaking up will never be a mistake, but the way you go about things most definitely can be, as you can see here. If I had done, said, or acted in a few different ways, I think the outcome could have been a bit different. In the end, I know I still have people who love and support me. My move-out date is just around the corner, and eventually my mental health will be okay. In the meantime, I will focus on packing and being around those I love. Thank you once again for all your support. This will be my final update. User Glittering Crow said, "The way your parents still found a way to turn what Dumbo said into you making excuses for yourself is incredible. Unfortunately, family won't always stand by you, and I'm so sorry you've had to go through this. At least there are still people who love you. I'm sure you haven't had time to properly process this whole situation, but please, once you move out and settle in, take the time to grieve. In the end, this is still a loss. Sending you so much support, and I'm proud of you." User Just Owls said, "Who needs enemies when you have a family like this? I'm so sorry that the people who are supposed to love and protect you chose the creep instead. I hope you find somewhere safe. Not just physically safe, but also mentally. Your family is not it. It's beyond horrible that your family expects you to deal with the situation like some sort of professional. You're not a professional and you shouldn't need to be. You're so young. Also, even if you had reacted or acted better, my bet is they would still choose the creep." This final story was made in the AITAH subreddit by a user named Saltfall. The post is titled AITAH for refusing to cook Thanksgiving lunch after 15 years. For the past 15 years, I have been the one cooking Thanksgiving lunch, or at least the turkey and most of the food. It's been a tradition, but this year I'm completely burnt out. I'm a teacher with 4 kids, and this year has been especially stressful with work, parenting, and school. I just don't have the energy to take on such a big responsibility again. I suggested that my Sil 1, who just moved into a new house, should maybe host this year and make the turkey. She's a stay-at-home mom with 1 child, so I thought it wouldn't be too much to ask. My mother-in-law immediately shut that idea down, saying Sil 1 is unreliable and might not wake up early enough to make it. I then suggested that my brother-in-law's wife could also take on the responsibility. They got married this summer, but have been together for over 5 years. She's never cooked a turkey before, but my mother-in-law said, "The turkey cooks itself, so I don't see why she can't give it a try. Everyone else shows up to eat every year without lifting a finger, but when I suggest not cooking this year, it's suddenly a crisis. When I told my husband I wasn't cooking, he said I'm just resentful because his parents helped Sil 1 buy her house. That's not true. I even suggested Sil 2 could make the turkey. Then he brought up that I'm mad because every time we have a date night, his parents tell my older daughter that we're neglecting our responsibilities as parents. I pointed out how unfair that is, but he just said, we're the most stable, so that's why we're always asked to take on more. My husband thinks my decision not to cook has less to do with stress and more to do with his family. He said I only decided not to cook after my mom said she wouldn't be coming over. My mom has been battling breast cancer for the past 10 months and just wants to stay home this year and avoid being around so many people. Last year, my parents spent Thanksgiving with my sister who couldn't travel, but I still cooked for his family. In the past, I hosted Thanksgiving at our house because my family and siblings were coming over, but I've still made the turkey for his family for the last 15 years. even in the years we hosted only his side. So the idea that I'm refusing because it's his family isn't true. My husband also said I have 5 days to rest before Thanksgiving and doesn't understand why I can't just cook the turkey. I explained that I don't want the responsibility of waking up early, making the turkey, and dealing with everyone asking me, is it almost done? For once, I just want to show up, sit down, and eat like everyone else does. He threw in that I've been hosting Thanksgiving for the last 7 years, which I pointed out is exactly why I'm tired. When I told him I didn't want to do it, he accused me of neglecting my motherly duties, which really hurt. Why should I always be expected to take on the stress of cooking when others don't have to because they can't or don't want to? Well, I don't want to this year either. Am I the jerk for refusing to cook this year? A day later, OP gave us an update. Thanks to everyone who weighed in on my original post. I was overwhelmed by the response as this is my first time posting. After a lot of back and forth with my husband, here's where things stand. I told him that for lunch, the kids and I would be going over to my mom's house. She's recovering from breast cancer and just wants a quiet day, so I want to spend time with her. I told my husband he was welcome to join us or not, his choice. He asked if I could meet him halfway by putting the turkey in the oven before leaving for my mom's so his family could eat at 3. I said no, but I'd be willing to cook the turkey if dinner was pushed to 6, giving me more time to prepare on my terms. He said that was too late. He then suggested his mom could cook the sides and I'd just handle the turkey. Again, I said I'd only do it if dinner was moved to 6. When he refused, I stood firm and said no. I want to bring something easy this year, like sodas and desserts, just like everyone else gets to do. I'm tired of being the one responsible for the main dish when others can step up. For context, we live next door to his parents and his sister, so the constant expectations from his family are exhausting. My husband and I share household responsibilities equally. He does all the daily cleaning even when we aren't hosting, and we both handle the kids' baths, school drop-offs, and pickups. I'm not complaining about him at all. The issue is with his family. His family keeps insisting that others can't cook or host because they're incompetent. But the real problem is that my in-laws coddle them and never let them take responsibility for anything. That's not my problem to solve. I just want a break from being the one carrying the load every year. I'm sticking to my boundaries. If they think no one else is capable of cooking, then they can deal with the consequences, not me. Also, I had said since last month that I didn't want to host or cook, so this is not new information to his family.